Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us, everyone who is at the center in person and who is online via Zoom and YouTube and Facebook. Thank you so much for making the time to be with us. We really appreciate it. So before we start today's talk, just a little very quick review what Manhattan Center offers as community services. I think by now everyone remembers it by heart, right? That we have Power Boost live meditation, but only online from Monday to Friday at 12 at noon time. And all timings are in Eastern Standard Times. We also have started in-person meditation, Sanctuary of Peace, from Monday to Thursday in the evening from 6 to 6:30. Besides this, we have these Thursday talk every Thursday evening, and we offer once a month, 2-day meditation course and a workshop, and whenever is possible, a 7-day meditation course also. I know these are a lot of things, but you don't need to remember all the details because we have posted all the information on Manhattan Meditation Center's website. So whenever you want to update yourself, just visit our website, navigate through all the events. We're trying to post as early as possible for the next few months so you guys can mark your calendars. We also have started the podcast service, and you can listen to the podcast on Spotify, on Apple Podcast, and on Amazon Music. All the recordings of the Thursday talk are available on Manhattan Center's YouTube channel. And hopefully all of you have already subscribed. If you haven't, please do subscribe it so you have access to the recordings of Power Boost meditations as well as our Thursday talks. So today is the International Day of Peace. United Nations has declared today's day as a International Day of Peace, and the expectation is that there'll also be a ceasefire for 24 hours. I didn't really look at the news, but I didn't hear that that the war between Ukraine and Russia has paused for 24 hours. Hopefully they did. But anyway, I'm going to invite today's speaker, Ines Frank, and she's going to share her thoughts how we can actually make it happen, peace, for ourselves and internationally. Very warm welcome, Sister Ines.
Thank you, Anita.
Yeah, I know it's internationally is a real big order, but one person at a time, if we start, I think we will achieve it.
Yes, this is a little bit of a challenge, but let's see how it goes. But first of all, very warm welcome to everyone here at the center. We have a nice group, some friends, family here at the center. And you're here for the first time? Second time, okay. Some are here for the first time. And second time, and then some older friends. So, and also very warm welcome to everyone on Zoom. And I can see there are also some long-term friends. Actually, only friends.
Om Shanti, sister.
Om Shanti. So very warm welcome, everyone. And as Anita was saying, today is also the International Day of Peace, celebrated every year, 21st of September, globally. And there were many activities, many projects, initiatives happened, particularly today, all over the world. And we know there are so many, it's a lot of interest, a lot of efforts are put into place in order to create peace, prevent war, prevent conflicts, find solutions so that we, that there can be more peace as such, or a time of less conflict, of less violence, less war in this world again. I'm here tonight with you to share from a more spiritual perspective, and just want to share a few thoughts, few ideas that we learn here at the Brahma Kumaris, and share that with you to give maybe some ideas, some thoughts to reflect on new ways of hopefully also be able to give you some maybe not method, but maybe even method to create peace, some ideas, some modalities, ways of thinking that you may want to experiment in your life in order to create more peace, add to peace in this world. So I'm sharing with you from a more spiritual perspective. A lot of what is happening in the world is done just to prevent or reduce physical violence, also poverty. And as a transition or an introduction in a way, I would like to read out something, few lines from a very powerful woman. She was in physical size even less high, less tall than me. Her age was, when she left the body, 104 years. And she led the organization, the Brahma Kumaris, for many years, very, very successfully. And some of you may even heard her name, Dadi Chanki. Very, very powerful woman. And she came also from India, and she was in the West, lived in the West in London. And when she became the head of the organization, she moved back to India. Very, very wise woman. And always love and enjoy going back to what is to words that she had shared, thoughts that she had shared, wisdom. And so here are a few lines, her thoughts. There are many external crises, right? Different levels, many crises. It is not always possible to do something about that. But the crisis you create in your own mind, at least put a stop to that and claim back your peace. And I think this is the directions we would like to move towards to this evening, even though we wish everyone to be peaceful and happy in this world, including the animals, even nature, but of course, especially all human beings. But as Dadi said, it is not possible to always be able to solve something on the external, whether it's in a bigger or in a smaller context. And probably one step towards peace is to already just to accept of what is. And acceptance, not in the sense of being passive and don't care, or, this is just what it is. But acceptance in the sense that it puts the mind into a positive way of thinking. When there is acceptance, I stop fighting, I stop struggling inside. A lot of struggle, that's actually a conflict that is most prominent in most of our minds, in our internal lives. That inner conflict between what I want, what I should, and what is. We all want a lot, and there are so many different things we want, and many of those are even very good. For the self, for others. But what is the situation? What are the circumstances? What is the state of being? What is the state of the art? So unless we allow ourselves to see and accept certain situation, conditions, whatever it is, and many times, of course, in that context, something that is not very pleasant, something that we not anticipate, what we call an adverse situation, a problem, difficulty. But the more we are able to see as it is, accept it instead of denying, not wanting it, pushing aside. But okay, that's what it is. But what is it that I can do? Or not necessarily do, what is it that I can contribute to make things better? So this form of acceptance is connected with a pure love. And wherever there is love, there is no fear, there's no negativity. There's no separation, because love is an energy that connects us as a global family. And wherever there is love, there is genuine interest in the well-being of the other one. If we do not accept, there's a barrier, there's a separation between me and the other one. And many times we find that separation justified. Because there's always one or another reason why I don't like, seeing the weaknesses, the defects, the problems, the shortcomings, the wrongdoings on the other side of someone, of an individual, of a nation, right? It's easy to see what is not right, what is being done wrong, but it's not so easy to actually maintain hope, remain loving. And so instead of adding to the problem, become part of the solution. And if we want to move into that direction, then it becomes more and more clear that peace really starts within me, within each one of us. It's not something that I can demand, that even if I desire it, we're going to come back to that whole topic of aspect of desires. Desire does not necessarily will bring peace to me. Anything that I want from the outside, for whatever reason, will ultimately add to an inner peacelessness. And so if we want to become part of a solution, if I want to experience peace in my life, moments, times of peace, and increase those moments, those times, those days where I am actually feeling peaceful and happy within. Then we'll have to give some attention. We'll have to make some effort and to look within and see what I can adjust, change within me. Yeah. And so also a spiritual approach will always come from inside out. Probably the most challenging thing for humanity at this point in time is to see the self. See the self where I can see and accept the goodness of the self, the strengths, the talents, the gifts that I have received, but also my shortcomings. And then use my strength, the talents I have, the abilities that I have to learn, to understand, use that to overcome my weaknesses, overcome shortcomings, overcome certain habits that actually are harmful to the self and maybe even also for others. Does that make sense? For me personally, when I think at that level, this is a concept I have been introduced through the teachings of the Brahma Kumaris, that concept of going within and start to create the peace within, bring the change, that famous saying from Gandhi, bring the change you want to see, be what you want to be, the change that you want to see. When I look at the individual, at myself, and then at the whole world, I think that's a dilemma that many of us run into, because we cannot necessarily see the connection. Because what is it that I can contribute to world peace? Many times I find we have difficulty to see and accept the value that I can, the value of my own inner well-being and the contribution I can make towards the world. One thing that has helped me move beyond that question or that doubt, or that question mark, and helped strengthen my inner faith, conviction that yes, I have a place here and I can contribute to its betterness of the world, even as an individual. And that is that whatever I do, whatever each one of us does, that's the consequences of that will come back to you, not to someone else. I am responsible for what I do, for the actions I perform, not what someone else does. Do you understand? So, however many not doing right, I can join them. It's easy, right? It's easy to get angry. It's easy to complain. It's easy to get upset. It is easy to give up, don't care. And I become part of the, mainstream, maybe. But it requires a lot of effort. It requires an interest. It requires a different way of thinking. It requires to recognize the value of the self if we want to remain positive and remain hopeful remain loving, and thereby become part of the solution. And I am the one who will experience that first. If I get angry at someone because I believe or perceive, think that, you're doing wrong and this shouldn't be like that, and I get upset, now who is in trouble first? I will feel that anger, right? It's not a happy feeling. So same, if I make the effort to think towards a solution, if I make the effort to have peaceful thought about myself, to actually value peace, and then move from a state of awareness into action, bring that peace from the level of awareness into a physical action where you act in peace. You speak peacefully, you walk peacefully, you interact respectfully. We give respect, we give regard. That will keep me peaceful. So peace is something, is a quality, is an experience. To be able to remain peaceful is not something passive. I actually have to be very proactive. I have to pay attention. I have to keep checking the self and, almost moment by moment, realign within my way of thinking. Making choices where I bring benefit to myself, where I bring benefit to others. It's easy to run, do, right? We are all very good in that. But we have all our individual name, but we are all, the English word describes it very well. We are all human. Yes? Beings. So before the doing, there is the being. And if I am peaceful, if I value peace, for example, value serenity, calmness, and then do, versus, yes, I want to be peaceful, but I don't make the effort. My mind is all over the place. I just keep doing, I just keep speaking, I just keep, moving along without stopping, pausing, considering. What will happen? Exactly. There's no way that I can remain peaceful. I will get exhausted, I will get tired. We will make mistakes, then we have to redo something, we get upset. There's lack of focus because the mind keeps running and wandering everywhere. So many times there is that assumption somewhere that to be peaceful is, I've heard people say even boring because nothing is happening and, you need some excitement in life. But to be peaceful is really to experience an inner harmony within our own self at the most subtle, invisible dimension of our own selves, at the level of thoughts and feelings. Notice the saying, to bring together head and heart. Thoughts and feelings have to come together. So when we create that inner harmony, then there will be also that experience of inner peace. But for example, coming back to how we started out, if I'm not able to accept certain situations, if I'm not able to accept something on my own self, but I am kind of driven and I'm always desiring something. I always want something. And when that desire gets fulfilled, then there's something else I want. So there is no inner alignment. There is an inner conflict of what I want and what is. And I'm actually disregarding my own inner conscience. And so if there's an inner conflict because I want something on one hand and on the other hand, I know it's not healthy, for example. It's not what I should not do, but there's a temptation. There is that desire, then it is as if I have one foot in one boat and the other foot in another boat. So how can I move along successfully in this way, right? So it takes a lot of energy to remain standing in this way, but eventually it will pull me apart. So to experience inner peace, I will have to give some attention to my inner life and value subtle energies such as peace and actually recognize that this is already within me. So exploring our own spiritual subtle dimension will bring us closer to an experience of peace. On the other hand, if I keep wanting something from someone or even objects, then I'm always chasing after something, after someone. The more I'm after someone or something, the less I will get it, the more they will run away, the less it will come to me. But if I move within and allow myself to create an inner state of contentment based on what I am, of what I have, we are able to be more in the moment. There's this book, Power of Now, right? So how to be able to live in the present moment, because actually only in the moment I am able to experience peace, experience happiness, experience love. Compared to when the mind is constantly driven by desires, going somewhere to someone, or just a wandering mind, restless mind. So the more we look outward without an inner connection to my own self, the more we will compare ourselves, the more expectations we will have. Expectation is another big one. They can get fulfilled, but they don't necessarily have to get fulfilled. Many times they don't get fulfilled. And how do you feel then? Anger is something that I think we all experience. And it is easy to get angry, and there's that habit of getting angry, and it's very much connected also of not getting what I want, unfulfilled desires. it creates a great inner discontent. And so what we learn on the spiritual journey to actually bring our thoughts, bring our attention more to our own self, to our inner world, a world that is maybe not so physical, not so visible. But there's that saying that, okay, I can't see the soul, I can't see the spirit, but I can understand myself. I can experience myself. And so if I have the courage to actually take up that idea that deep within, I'm a being of goodness. Deep within, we are beings of goodness, even though we don't feel or experience it all the time. If I have the courage and hold that thought, keep that awareness, and actually make use of it, believe in your goodness, and bring it into action. This way you will experience upliftment, you will feel happy, there will also be peace. Because life is all about giving, right? But yes, you can give and share at the physical level, but then especially nowadays, if we are able to give hope to someone, if we are able to help someone see the light, they then can go on with their own lives. Help others see their own lights. I have to be connected to my own light, the light of peace, for example. Can you relate to these things? Yeah. There's another short few lines about another thief that robs us of our peace, like complaints, desires, comparing, guilt. These are all thieves that rob us of our own inner peace. And what do we do if you feel like, for example, you got some news, you're really not happy about it, or something happened at work, boss told you something, or something happened with a colleague, or at home with family, and you get agitated, you are unhappy, you get even upset. What do we do when we feel like that? What do you do? Yeah, that's wonderful if we can do that. Typically, the average person, when they feel unhappy and something happened in their life, someone made a comment about them, or something was said or done to them that made them unhappy, we call someone, we go somewhere. We go out, we want to be with someone, mostly with someone who supports us in our thinking. We are running away from our own self. We are not able to be with the self when there is upsetness, hurt. And so we become even more extroverted in a way. So like I have to talk to someone, I have to do something, some go shopping, some go eating, some go in the bar, all different kind of distractions are available and are being used just because I cannot be with myself in this moment. And so we call that state soul consciousness, when I am able to stay connected, be connected, consider myself to be a being of goodness. Yeah. And in that state, we can have self-respect, where I have true value for who I am. And as spiritual beings, the being part in this human form is peace. Ultimately, it's peace. Peace is ultimately our most natural nature. So, one thief that robs us of our inner experience of peace is thief, or a great enemy, is ego. Ego is a very, I think everyone is familiar with that word. And the way we look at it is that I am not really who I am. I identify myself with someone or something that I am not. And I am attached to that image. When we meet people, we go to places, we meet people dependent on the circle, dependent on the group, or the purpose of the meeting, or the people I am meeting. We can put up different images, different personalities, right? So I put on a mask because I want to present myself in a certain image when I meet with that person. I want that person to see me in a certain light. So accordingly, I will put on a mask, right? Now, if I'm also attached to that mask, I believe that's who I am, then I'm in trouble. I have ego. Because ultimately, that mask is not who I am. So just few words in terms of the ego. So ego makes you judge others. And think about them in an unkind way. It makes you force others to do what you want. In this way, you forget you are a student and that you are here to learn. Now, Dadi Chanki was an embodiment of the perfect example of being a lifelong student. To the last second of her life, she was willing to learn. And she always, few times I heard her or I met her, the moment you think I am right, learning has stopped and your happiness will also go. When I think I am right, then this is what I insist on, and I lose my ability, my interest to hear, to listen, or to even listen or hear someone or listen to them or even consider how they might feel. I am totally absorbed in what I think is right. And Consequently, then we become very, very judgmental. So instead of learning, if you start, now here's the solution. Instead of learning, if you start giving advice, no, sorry, it's not the solution. If you start giving advice, telling people what they should do and trying to change them, you are forgetting an important lesson in life. You can only change yourself, not others. Now that's the solution. So if I keep criticizing others, seeing weaknesses, seeing faults in others, becoming judgmental, I am not willing to learn anymore. I am not seeing myself, and I'm kind of wanting others to change. And we can become very forceful in that. Yeah, so that ego is very dangerous. And a way around that, a practice that we do, that we have, is to consider the self as a being of light, as a being of goodness, a being of peace, being of love that operates this body. So there's a physical identity. We all have our social identity. But when it comes to the question of who am I, that's where we connect to our less physical, but more spiritual, invisible identity as a spiritual being, as a being of light, human being. And that being, if that being is in peace, and then I use my ability to think, I use my ability to judge, use my ability to make choices, to make decisions, I myself and everyone around me will be much better off compared to if I, the being, in distress, sad, fearful, confused, and I keep thinking, making decisions. If I am in one or another unhappy state of mind and start to make decisions, we all have done it, what is the outcome? You're always happy with your choices? So if I'm not peaceful, but if I'm agitated, unhappy, distressed, angry, and make decisions, draw conclusions, make decisions in this state of being, then many times we have to apologize, we have to regret, we have to ask for forgiveness. Because the choices that we then make are not very beneficial, not for the self and not for the others. And just before we open up for question and answers, or anyone wants to make a comment, in order to look at the connection between the individual and the collective. Now, at the beginning, we said that whatever I do, I am responsible for, right? And the consequences, whether it's good or bad, positive or negative, of what I do, they will come back to me. So I am responsible for what I do. So instead of wanting peace, wanting others to be in a certain way so that I can be peaceful, now I have to look within. What is it that I can adjust at my level of thinking, attitude, to become more kind to myself, to become more friendly, more accepting, loving, compassionate, respectful even. And the thing is, whatever we think, our thoughts, and even more so our feelings, creating vibrations. Yeah? Yes? No? How is it possible that we can pick up attitudes from people very quickly? Someone saying something to you, maybe very nice words, but somehow you think something not right. Now, what's going on here? Picking up an attitude. The intention maybe might not be the best, but the words are nice. So our thoughts, our feelings create vibrations. We always vibrate at a certain frequency. And these vibrations, they don't just stay with me in my own mind, in this body, they affect this body, they affect everything and everyone outside of my physical boundary. Vibrations travel, thoughts travel, feelings travel. They will reach their destination. So whatever effort I make in order to bring that inner harmony, every moment I feel happy, I feel peaceful because there's contentment, there's acceptance, for example. Then those vibrations, the vibrations of those thoughts, of those feelings, of those attitudes will go into the atmosphere. They're creating an atmosphere. Others will get affected by that. We all have entered spaces or maybe even came close to individuals where you did not feel comfortable. Some places are like such, you just want to turn around. But then there are other places, other people where you feel very, even though not many words have been spoken, but you feel very good because their vibrations are very good. Their vibrations are genuine. And this is what we experienced with our daddies, with our elder, it's a respectful way to call elderly sisters. They had such a powerful energy field around them, created within, and then the vibrations emanate. So when you came close to them or into their energy field, you forget all your questions. You have no more question to ask because you feel good, you feel content, you feel happy because of their powerful vibrations. And then, of course, the vibrations keep traveling. So there is an impact. There is a connection between my and the state of my mind, the state of mind of an individual and the collective. So if I make an effort, then I can also inspire others, subtly supporting others. But after all, that good energy will also come back to me. And I am the one who feels it first. And then, of course, in terms of the consequences, there's a reward that will come back to me. So we don't want to be good in order to get something good. The intention has to be pure, but there is an understanding that when we do good, good will come back to us. The less desires I have, the more what I need will come to me. That's another thing, right? What I desire is not necessarily what I need. But if I do not desire, life will bring to me what I need. And on the other hand, the more I chase after desires, the less I will get what I need. And there will be great discontentment. And I can tell you from experience, you will not be very happy. So this constant wanting of something makes us very unhappy. Okay, so I'll stop here and let's see if anyone would like to share something or there's a question. Yes, yes, Ananda, he will give you the mic so that those on Zoom can also hear you. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Saying that I'm responsible for everything is a very powerful place to come from. It gives me all the power I need when things don't go my way. I don't have to look at other people and blame other people for my perspective, for my unhappiness. And it gives me all the power I need in life to live my life in a successful way, even when things are not going well. Nobody did it to me. Nobody caused it. When you talk about ego, I heard at a workshop that comes with easing God out.
Yes, exactly.
And that's not a contribution to me. A contribution to me is by giving something to somebody else,
Right.
and I get value. And I like what you had to say, so thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. So there's this saying, and it is literally like that. So when there is ego, there's this arrogance, and either there's arrogance or there is inferiority. And this ego thing really makes us edge God out. There's no space for God. But why not, instead of, trying to figure out everything for yourself, instead of working so hard and carrying all the burden on your own shoulders, why not let God in and give space so that God can also do something?
Right.
And I think is something very beautiful to reflect on, because yes, there's a responsibility that we at an individual level carry for the self, and that responsibility is to, for example, have that courage to consider myself to be a being of peace. Yeah. And that is also what connects me with God, the ocean of peace. No? So if I have a don't care attitude towards myself and I just allow the weaknesses, the negativity go on, now this is very dangerous and is also indicating that I'm very weak. It's important to take responsibility, and that's these are the choices, or not here is where I have choices, and here is where I need to use my willpower. The willpower to keep reconnecting to what is true, to reconnecting to my inner truth, reconnecting to love, to peace, to hope, to respect, compassion. Yeah. Even though there are challenges, and this is where God will help. So instead of, doing everything by myself and trying to figure out everything by myself and fixing everything, no, why don't have a pure thought about the self and invoke the ocean of peace, the ocean of love? You have a right to. And let that being who is the embodiment of those divine virtues, who has the inner power, the spiritual power to help us to be peaceful, to bring out our own goodness. Why not give space to that being to help you? And sometimes people think to take responsibility is something negative, but I think we have to have an understanding, little bit of an understanding what it means to take responsibility. Like we heard earlier, we are not responsible for, in a way, what is happening outside. I can't fix it. It's impossible. But I can take responsibility to make sure that the thoughts I create about myself and in relation to that situation are respectful, compassionate, caring, kind. Yeah. That will keep me peaceful and happy. And in addition, I am giving, like you're saying, you're giving something to the world. And so there is then that pure pride, pure self-honor. Okay. We can hear from someone else. Yes.
I have to remember that if I get angry or I get upset with someone, I am destroying my own peace. So I have to be proactive, as you say, and keep checking myself as I go through the day so that I will keep that connection with my inner harmony. And when I am like that, I am helping to create harmony, not only in myself, but around me.
Exactly, exactly. You know, whenever there is anger, there are few things that can go on. Whenever there's anger is when my desires are not fulfilled, when my expectations are not fulfilled, but also there can be, or there will be anger when there is, at the deeper level, there's a wound in the being, there's a scar in the being, there's hurt. Yeah, so anger is a cover-up emotion. But if I value that inner harmony, if I value peace, then that's where my self-respect is coming from. And that's why I then choose to, no, I don't need to engage and enhance, give power to that anger, but let me come out, let me detach from it, let me invest, think about peace. Yeah. And then the more inner calm there is, that also then allows me to look deeper, whether it's within my own self or at someone, because someone else maybe got so very badly angry. It allows me to see deeper what is underneath that anger. And that's where we then can have mercy. You know, there is no need to get angry, but I can have mercy, I can have compassion. And forgiveness, of course, is also a big one in order to create or maintain, sustain inner peace. Yes. Actually, we're supposed to do short meditation. Maybe we will do that. Is there anyone who wants to say something desperately? Then let us move into closing meditation. So we sit comfortably. And be aware, acknowledge surrounding, the light, temperature, the smell maybe, or if other people are surround you or around you, just to acknowledge what is on the outside of me, and then come closer to your body. We can scan the body briefly from the toes upward. And if there's any tension anywhere in the body, just give permission to relax. Relax those muscles. And then we go deeper within. We connect to our breath. Become conscious, aware about your breathing, how you breathe in and then breathe out. And as I hold the attention on the breath, I gradually become the observer. It is as if the body is breathing by itself. So who then is observing the breath? Who has awareness of itself, of this body, the surrounding? Who am I? When we look at this deep question, and when we look deep into our hearts, at the core of our being, no matter what happened in the past, whatever life experiences I had or have, deep within, I know that I am alive. I am a being of goodness, a being of love, a being of peace. I value peace, to be peaceful. I value peace. I have respect for myself. I value that inner harmony, where there's an alignment between my thoughts, my feelings, and ultimately what I do. If I am a being of goodness, a being of peace, I want to speak peacefully. I want to move peacefully. My thoughts are thoughts of peace. And my vision, how I see the self, how I see others, how I look through my eyes, is with an attitude of gratitude. To the extent that I am connected to the core of my being, I'm connected to my inner greatness. And this gives me the strength to see the greatness of others, to see the goodness in others, even though in some cases there's only 1% goodness expressed and 99% of negativity. But it is my choice what I want to see, what I want to connect with. The 1% of goodness, the 1% of light, or the 99% of darkness. And it starts within my own self, with my own self. At any given moment, do I use my willpower to connect to my light? Let go, forgive, forget, and go on. Brighten up the self and brighten up the life of others. How important is it for me to be right versus how important is it for me to have good relationships, value for others, their opinions, their feelings, their perspectives. Differences are no threat to the one who is connected with their own inner greatness. Differences become an enrichment in life. They add to the beauty of life, but only if I have true value for who I am and I stay connected with who I truly am while connecting and looking outwards, connecting with others. Peace begins within. Peace begins with me. And I can become a beacon of light, light of peace, and spread that light in the world through my thoughts, my feelings, my words, my vision, my actions. Om Shanti.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for joining us. And we will see everyone next Thursday.